Hey, Sad Nation, and welcome to another episode of our Agents of Change series, presented by State Farm and SAD. We're all excited that summer is finally here, but we know that the season is also one of the deadliest for teens. As young people take to the roadways, we want to give parents the tips and knowledge they need to keep their families safe. We're thrilled to have an all-star panel with us today. Please join me in welcoming our Agents of Change. Kelly Lux from California. From Florida, we have Pam Leonard-Williams. Last but not least, Shavanya Dutton from Nevada. Welcome, everyone. In this episode, we're talking about impairment. What are the things that impair a young person, or any driver for that matter, as they get behind the wheel? Let's start with you, Kelly. I'd love to get your perspective.
Thanks, Bailey. I would like to start out about talking about drug driving. There are many misconceptions around drugs where drivers don't think these substances can impair your driving. According to the 2018 National Survey on Drug Use and Health, in 2018, 20.5 million people aged 16 or older drove under the influence of alcohol in the past year, and 12.6 million drove under the influence of illicit drugs.
Prescriptions, over-the-counter medications are a serious challenge as well. We often forget that allergy and cold medicine can impair us and make us tired. Have we all seen those labels on our medications that say don't operate heavy machinery? We often forget that this includes a car, which is a massive piece of machinery. When buying medication, always read the label and look for non-drowsy forms of medication when available.
I think we also have a misconception that we've solved the issue of alcohol impaired driving. Sadly, we haven't. It's important to point out that almost 25% of the 40,000-ish people we lose on roadways each year are involved in a crash that involves alcohol. When there's so many other alternatives, parents, don't forget to talk to your teens about this important topic.
Yeah, and those are all excellent points. It seems like we have a great deal of work to do in helping teens understand the challenges that come with impaired driving. So what's one specific action that teens and parents can do this summer to stop this trend of impaired driving?
What about sleep? Summer is here, and hopefully we start to think about life post-COVID-19. We want to enjoy these fun-filled days. Our schedules will be changing, and one thing teens most often neglect is their sleep schedule. Parents need to make sure their young person is well rested before they get behind the wheel, especially if they are driving early morning or late at night, which we know happens much more during the summer months.
I agree with you, Kelly, in regards to getting lots of sleep. And there are often many unintended consequences that affect many. So taking any sort of substance, medication, or drugs often can impair us in ways we don't understand, especially as young people's bodies are changing during adolescence. Our body weight and whether male or female can cause us to have different effects to medications and drugs. We have to research and be aware of the effects at all times.
And don't forget about distractions. It's the thing we all know is wrong, but continues to be so tempting. Answering that quick text message, responding to that snap, it seems so quick, easy, and harmless. The research continues to show us that even though the act of using an electronic device may take only a few seconds, the time our eyes are off the road and the time it takes to focus on driving lasts far longer mentally. I remember when I was younger, a friend of mine was putting her mascara on while we were driving down the road, and she hit my neighbor's garbage can. And even though it seemed funny at the time, it could have been much worse. She could have hit a child or a pedestrian or another car, and we could have gotten hurt.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree more, agents. I'm mindful that so much of what we're talking about here today is really surrounding establishing a culture that refuses to allow impaired driving. As individuals who work in trying to prevent harm, what's one thing we can all do to change the culture of traffic safety?
Bailey, you can make a plan. If you're going to be driving late or might be in an unsafe situation, call a friend, a parent, or a trusted adult, anyone who cares. They will gladly take the call and make sure that you have a plan to be safe. And as a mother of a college student, Uber is our best friend. On the weekends, my son is actually not allowed to use his car.
And as a State Farm agent, I constantly look for additional resources to help parents and their teens to understand the risks associated with drugs and medications. SAD and State Farm offers lots of great materials and resources for teens and parents alike. At statefarm.com, check out our Simple Insights. It's a great place to get information about how you and your teen can be better prepared to talk about impaired driving and how to prevent it. And I'm with you, Kelly. I tell my boys as well, take Uber. So, you know, when in doubt, take Uber, or always have a designated driver for sure.
That's a great idea. Where we live, it's very rural. We don't have Uber. So it's even more important for us to have a plan in place for kids that, you know, want to feel safe driving. So I'm glad to hear that you guys have that option where you live. One of the things we do is set expectations. A culture of safety is where we not only speak up, but hold each other accountable to be safe every trip, every time. Parents are the key to setting expectations behind the wheel. Teens have been watching us drive for years, so they'll model the behavior that they see. So we need to make sure we walk the walk and show our young people what it means to be safe and set those expectations and start with ourselves.
As always, panelists, you've given us a lot to think about today. As we wrap up, I'd be curious, what's one piece of advice you would give to teen drivers as they face the summer months?
Bailey, my advice would be that teen drivers is to scan. When people get into a collision, the first thing they say, I never saw him. Where did they come from? So by constantly checking your rearview mirrors and your side mirrors, you know what's around you. You're able to track erratic drivers, pedestrians, and bicyclists. So scanning the intersection is just a great idea. You can spot a pedestrian before they start to cross. And that would be my advice.
That's good advice. And as I tell myself and my boys, I have two college age boys, when you're behind the wheel, try to always avoid distractions, which means, and I always tell them, put the phone down. When driving, whatever the message or phone call is, it can wait until you stop or pull over.
That's good advice, Pam. I would say to set an example and be the one that makes a change. Have good habits, be the leader and stand up and say, let's make a difference, because it only takes seconds for one bad decision to change your life forever. So if you can be the example and set that and tell your friends, hey, let's not text and drive. Have that app on your phone that shuts off your text messages while you drive, and be the change that you need to be to help everybody stay safe.
Absolutely. Agents, these are great tips all around. I again want to thank our esteemed panel from State Farm, and of course, you, SAD Nation, our followers, for helping us share the rules of the road as we celebrate what we hope to be the safest summer ever. That's all the time we have for now. Be safe every trip, every time.